Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Crooked Bridge Wrestling Podcast here on YouTube. I'm your host, Brian the Mark, and let's get right into it. Another episode of AEW Dynamite in the bag. There was a lot of amazing things that happened in this episode, but there was one moment in particular that was not so good. And I'm going to talk about that in time. Let's just start right from the top. First match right out the gate, Rey Fenix versus Nick Jackson. And oh my God, that match was mesmerizing. Just brilliant, amazing showcasing of talent. Rey Fenix, I've already spoken very highly of. Nick Jackson is just as good as Rey Fenix. I mean, I've never seen anything like what these guys have been able to do, especially tonight in that ring. They had one of the most mind-blowing matches of the night, and it was such a spectacle to watch. The crowd was into it. It was in Indianapolis, and that Indianapolis crowd got heavily invested in that match. I myself was on the edge of my seat, and that was what a way to start the show, you know, with those two guys. Now, I know Will Ospreay is another guy with immense amount of talent. Ricochet also comes to mind, and these two competitors in the ring today are on that same level. And Rey Fenix might be at the top, in my opinion. I can't stop gravitating towards the amazing feats of acrobatics that he can do in that ring. And he scores the victory. Now, the match was so good, and these two wrestlers were so revered by the crowd, that it was almost difficult for us to kind of like pick who our favorite is. We kind of loved both of them. And I think they did an excellent job at the end, where, you know, Nick Jackson, who's by himself because Matt Jackson's injured, so he wasn't on the show this week. They probably gave him the week off to just, you know, recoup, tend to his injury. You know, I'm not entirely sure what's going on. But yeah, so Nick Jackson by himself in the ring, he's reaching out to shake hands with Rey Fenix at the end of the match. And because the crowd was so into both of the wrestlers, to see Rey Fenix kind of just shrug him off and say, I'm not shaking your hand, and walks to the back after winning the match, you know, it was the perfect way to get heat on Rey Fenix and make him seem as the heel and Nick Jackson as the babyface, as the hero who was, you know, he was defeated in the ring. And it was kind of shocking to see Nick Jackson take a loss and lose cleanly like that. But you know what? It was an amazing match. What a way to start the show. And I'm going to move on to the next match. So the next match was Hikaru Shida versus Britt Baker. And this match was a very good match, very competitive. Hikaru Shida is one of my favorite wrestlers in the women's division. And Britt Baker, she actually showcased a little bit of tenacity in this match. I think she's getting a lot better than she previously was. And she even ended up getting injured in the match. I don't know if you guys saw, but she had a bloody nose. And Hikaru Shida was, you know, on top of her like the whole time. It was very back and forth. It got a little physical, which I enjoyed because it showcases that these women are getting more comfortable with each other. And honestly, it was a good match. The crowd got into it. I was into it. I think it was a step in the right direction. And I actually look forward to seeing Hikaru Shida possibly make a run for the women's title. I think that she's a very good talent. She clearly has a lot of potential, and I can see her with the belt and defending it time and time again. So hopefully I see good things in her future. Britt Baker, I think that she is finally on her way to where I want to see her. She is showing a little bit more improvement with the way her style is in the ring, and I think it was an overall good match. So now I'm going to move on. There was a segment that I thought was really funny. It was the Dark Order. It was a promotional infomercial, so to speak, to recruit people by providing a better lifestyle. I thought it was a brilliant promo. It was just pretty much guys saying, you know, if you're down or if you're a loser, and they show a guy kind of like, he's a little heavier set, he's at a Subway and he's eating or something, and some guy comes and like knocks something down from his hand, calls him a loser, and it's showcasing that we want all those people who are wronged, who are treated like dirt, to come join the Dark Order because there is strength in numbers. And I saw like little subliminal messages of the people that were doing the infomercial wearing the masks of the Dark Order minions, and I thought it was hilarious. It was very effective. I enjoyed the hell out of it. And not only that, but it furthers this, like, it's creating this almost persona for these guys that I kind of really enjoy. Like, the fact that these guys are the ones that are treated like crap, that is something you can kind of understand. And their methods of going about fixing it is wrong, which is what makes them the heels. But honestly, the more I see of the Dark Order, the more I am enjoying them. I thought it was a brilliant promo. And yeah, that's pretty much all I got for that. And I'm going to move on to the next thing. So the next thing is a battle royal. We had a slew of wrestlers that were in there. I don't have all the names off the top of my head, but the one I do know for a fact, Billy Gunn, as one of the special guest members in that match, he got a huge crowd reaction. I was actually happy to see him out there. He looked like he was having fun. He's in great shape. I actually have the list right here. Hangman Page, MJF, Chuck Taylor, Marco Stunt, Sonny Kiss, Pentagon Jr., Kip Sabian, Joey Janela, Jimmy Havoc, Jungle Boy, Orange Cassidy, and Billy Gunn. So all those guys are in the ring just beating the crap out of each other. Everyone had their time to shine. Billy Gunn did phenomenal out there. There was a moment where MJF threw Orange Cassidy out the ring, who was getting a huge pop. And, he bumps into Billy Gunn. Billy Gunn tells him to suck his dick. He said it, and you can hear it. And I was just like, whoa, my God, this is crazy. And he threw him out of the ring. Or he didn't throw him out of the ring. He tried to throw him out of the ring. Really fun stuff. The end of the match ends up being MJF and Hangman Page. It looked as though Hangman Page and Jungle Boy were the last two. But then MJF, he was hiding under the ring for a couple of minutes, came out, eliminated Jungle Boy. So it's going to be Hangman Page versus MJF on November 27th. So that's what's going to happen. That's the plan. And people were kind of like, okay, boo. They were booing MJF because he kind of cheated. But hey, whatever. It's going to be a fun match. I can't wait to see Hangman Page versus MJF. I'm sure those two are going to put on one hell of a show. And I'm going to move on to the next thing. So the next thing that we have here is another excellent promo by Chris Jericho. It was yet another brilliant display of what that man is able to exude when going into the ring. It was amazing how he was trying to apologize but couldn't say the words. So as soon as he was saying, I'm sorry, he had Jake Hager say sorry for him. And every time he did it, it was hilarious. I can even see Jake Hager kind of smiling as soon as he said the words. So the cameraman had to pan away from him. Brilliant stuff by Chris Jericho. And all of a sudden, he says goodbye. That's all I needed to say. See you later. SCU comes out. And when SCU comes out to the ring, Scorpio Sky, he starts off by saying, Chris Jericho, it takes a big man to apologize. And you know what? You did. That was nice. Chris Jericho's a little bit disarmed at that point. But then he starts to bring up, I beat you last week. I pinned you for your title. Or not for the title. I defended the tag team titles. And I pinned you and we defeated you. And Chris Jericho is having this back and forth with him till eventually they use a little bit of reverse psychology. He then says, you know what? I will challenge you to a match next week in Chicago for the heavyweight title. And they were like, oh, are you sure you want to do that? And Chris Jericho says, yes. That was excellent display of playing into Chris Jericho's giant ego. His ego got the best of him. And now he's got to pay the price by having a match next week with Scorpio Sky. At this point, he realizes that he was just swindled into a match. And like the heel that he is, he, of course, takes the high road and sucker punches him. And they are beating the crap out of each other. So now the rest of the inner circle comes into the ring. They're having a beat down. Everyone's kicking the crap out of each other. Now people are coming back and forth. You got, I don't even remember. There was just so many people in the ring just beating the crap out of each other that eventually Chris Jericho kind of moves his way to the backstage, and that was the end of that. That was the end of that segment. It was a lot of fun, though. And that means that next week, we are going to have a heavyweight title match between Scorpio Sky and Chris Jericho in Chicago. I am looking forward to that match. I hope you guys are as well. Moving on to the next thing. Luchasaurus comes out, and he's facing Peter Avalon, who is also known as the Librarian, and completely obliterates him. He squashes the hell out of him. It was very quick. It's good to see Luchasaurus back. He's getting a huge crowd reaction. People love him. I think he looks crazy, scary, and awesome as well. So it's fun to see where they're going to take that into the future. I'm going to move on. And now here's where the show... This was hard. It was very hard to watch. It was very cringe. So I'm going to start right from the top. Ortiz and Santana are having a match with Private Party. At the beginning of the match, Private Party, they have a shirt, and this was beautiful. It was for Matt Travis, who sadly passed away. He was a wrestler in House of Glory, and Private Party, they originated from House of Glory, and with the commentary by Excalibur, who had mentioned that Matt Travis was sort of a mentor to Private Party. He said a couple of things that were really nice. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I understand that Matt Travis and Private Party were friends. They worked together, and over in House and Glory, they seem to be family over there. And, to see that Matt Travis, passed away in a very tragic way, and to see Private Party, paying homage to him, paying tribute to one of their friends was actually kind of really nice to see. Very sad, and it was very heartfelt. So that was all great. The match then ensued, and it was a great match. In the beginning, Ortiz and Santana showcased a methodology of tag team wrestling I haven't seen. I've never seen that. They had a point where they had one of the members of Private Party. I'm drawing a blank on the name. But they had him up in the air. They had him for what seemed to be forever in a suplex position. And they kept tagging each other and then exchanging the person into each other's hands to continue that elevated upside down maneuver, which was pretty awesome. I've never seen that before, and I thought it was amazing. This is another way that these guys are thinking outside the box. They're allowed to try new things, and in my opinion, that was cool. The crowd was into it. Cut to commercial break. We come back, and this is where I saw a huge botch. It was not, you couldn't hide it. There was a botch. The referee counted 1, 2, and then when he got to 3, he just stopped. And I guess the botch was somebody was supposed to pull him out of the ring to break the count. The thing is, no one did that. And I don't know if it was because he wasn't close enough to the ropes, so the guy couldn't reach him. So it was Santana outside the ring. He was supposed to reach into the ring and pull the ref out. But I guess he couldn't reach him, or he forgot. He missed his cue. I don't know. But it looked horrible. The ref just straight up stopped counting, and they kind of just looked at each other and went, oh, it's because he grabbed my leg or something. And the crowd was confused. I face-palmed pretty hard. It was tough to watch. And in fact, the rest of the match just kind of fell apart. And then in order to kind of salvage what happened, Nick Jackson came out. You had Dustin Runnels come out. And it was just kind of like Damage Control. I don't know if it was supposed to be like that. I don't know if those guys were supposed to come out. But the fact that they ended up coming out, I felt as though that seemed to be Damage Control, in my opinion. I'm not entirely sure. All I know is that it didn't look good. So that was a unfortunate blemish on this magnificent night. It was a great 2 hours. Excluding those, 10 minutes of the show. And it sucked. But it happens. This is the second week, I believe, that this has happened, where a referee botches. And you would think that learning from their previous mistake, that if that situation were to ever to occur, the referee should just count to 3 and say, you know what? I counted to 3. It is what it is. You guys kind of need to fix it now because we need to continue our continuity for the fans. But I'm going to leave it like that. I'm going to move on to the next segment. So the next thing was a quick Kenny Omega promo. He was pretty much blaming Pac for his recent slide, and he is not happy with his losing streak kind of thing. And I guess he's issuing a challenge to him. I'm not entirely sure, but I'm going to move on to now the main event of the evening. The main event of the evening was Darby Allin versus Jon Moxley, and the crowd is clearly behind Darby Allin. As soon as he comes out, he came out in a body bag, came out of the body bag, did his little thing where he was riding a skateboard down the ramp. Crowd loves him, man. He has fans. There's a lot of fans with painted faces. I actually really enjoyed seeing the little kid who had his face painted just like Darby Allin, and it seems like he is really starting to get engaged by the younger crowd. And it's good to see that there are kids that are looking up to another wrestler here in AEW, and it just shows you that the next generation that's coming is going to embrace AEW that much more. Darby Allin, he is he's a daredevil, he's a rebel. He clearly has no fear. He's very courageous. So I commend him on that, because going up against Jon Moxley is not an easy task. So then Jon Moxley, he comes out and the crowd explodes for this guy. He's coming out from the ring, from the rafters. Everyone's going ape shit for him. I myself was starting to mark out a bit because I do have a soft spot for Jon Moxley. As soon as he gets to ringside, Darby Allin flies out of nowhere, tackles him. These guys are beating the shit out of each other all outside the ring, in the crowd. Finally make it to the ring. They're continuously beating the crap out of each other. Jon Moxley is asserting his dominance based on his size over Darby Allin, but Darby Allin is shifty. He's quick. He's just relentless. He does not stop coming at Jon Moxley, and Jon Moxley kind of welcomes it. So it was great. It was a very physical match. They were really trying to impose each other's wills over each other. It wasn't very technical. It was just crazy chaos between the two, which was very enjoyable. Those two styles definitely mixed very well in this match. I thought it was fun to watch. It was a great way to end the show, great main event. And it got the crowd back into it, as well as me at home. I don't know how it was for you guys watching, but for me, it was definitely unsettling to see that botch. But this definitely picked everything back up and continued running with it, and I enjoyed it. Jon Moxley finally scores the win. Darby Allin, I think he's going to be okay, even though he suffered this loss. He's main eventing a show, and he killed it. I mean, the crowd loved it. And Jon Moxley is, he's now got some momentum. He beat Kenny Omega in that unsanctioned match. Now he comes here and he delivered on his message, and now he's just going to keep on rolling. So it'll be fun to see where Jon Moxley goes from here. This was overall, in my opinion, a great show. I can't give it a perfect rating, obviously, because of that very bad botch. I'm very sad that happened. I hope that doesn't happen again. But honestly, I think these shows are continuing to get better. And I hope that this is a continuous trend. Next week is going to be in Chicago. There's going to be a title match in that AEW Dynamite. And I can't wait for it. So I'm going to leave it like that, guys. Let me know in the comment section what you think. How do you feel about Chris Jericho having a match for the title against Scorpio Sky? Do you think Scorpio Sky has a chance to defeat Chris Jericho? Tell me who some of your favorite wrestlers are, and I will talk to you guys next week.